It was a quiet night in the small town of Elridge. The sky was clear and the stars were shining brightly. Most people had gone to sleep, but Laina, a 17-year-old girl, was still awake. She sat on the roof of her house with her younger brother, Tom, looking at the stars. They often did this, talked about space, dreams, and strange things in the universe. Tom loved science fiction. Leanna just liked the peace. Suddenly everything changed. A bright flash lit up the sky. It was fast, too fast. Not like a plane, not like a shooting star. It made no sound. Just a white streak, then silence. Lena gasped. "Did you see that?" Tom nodded, wide-eyed. "What was that?" Elena quickly took out her old phone and checked the camera. She had caught a few seconds of the flash. Then, everything around them went dark. The lights in their house turned off. The streetlight shut down. The neighbor's porch light flickered and died. Even Lainey's phone turned off in her hand. "What's happening?" Tom asked, scared. Laina tried to restart her phone. Nothing. It was completely dead. They climbed down from the roof. Their parents were already outside looking around. All the neighbors were outside too. People were shouting. Someone said their car wouldn't start. Others said their smartwatch had frozen. The entire town had lost power. But it wasn't just electricity. It was everything: electronic phones, cars, even battery-powered things. All dead. Mr. Grady, the old man who used to be a pilot, walked slowly into the street. I had a serious look on his face. "That wasn't a meteor," he said. "That was something else." Lyanna stepped forward. "What do you think it was?" Mr. Grady looked at the sky. "I don't know, but I've seen something like that before. A long time ago, in the war." Tom stared at him. Was it a spaceship? Mr. Grady didn't answer. He just walked away. The next morning, people were still confused. Some thought it was just a power cut. But then why didn't batteries work? Why did digital watches stop? And why did it happen the exact moment that flash passed overhead? Lena charged her phone with a small solar charger. It turned on. She checked her video. It was still there. Short clip showing the light moving across the sky, quick and silent. She tried to upload it online, first to YouTube, then to Instagram, then to a space forum. Each time the upload failed. Her internet was working now, but every time she uploaded the video, it would disappear. Not just from the site, but from her phone too. She tried sending it to her friend via Bluetooth. It vanished again. "What is going on?" She whispered. Tom was watching cartoons on the TV. He looked up. "Why don't you show it to Mr. Grady?" Lena nodded. Maybe he would know more. That evening, she walked to Mr. Grady's house. It was old, full of airplane models and books about flying. He was sitting on his porch. "I tried to upload the video," she said. "It just disappears." Didn't look surprised. "They're watching." "Who?" "The ones who built that thing." Laina felt a chill down her spine. "Is it alien?" He shook his head slowly. "I don't think so. It's too familiar, too clean. Like something made by humans, but not for humans." She didn't understand. Why would humans build something like that? To control, he said? Or to test? Maybe to scare? Lena showed him the video. It blinked once, then deleted itself from her phone again. "They don't want people to see it," Grady whispered. "You saw it for a few seconds. That's enough to get their attention?" Lena looked around. "Who are they?" Before he could answer, a loud buzzing noise came from the sky. No black helicopters flew over the town. No lights, no sound, except the soft spinning of blades. Lania and Mr. Grady watched them go by. "You need to be careful," he said. "Things are going to get strange now." That night, Laina couldn't sleep. She sat on her bed, looking out the window. The sky was quiet again, but something felt wrong. She turned on her laptop and searched for news about the flash. Nothing, not one article, not one report. She went to social media. A few people were talking about strange lights in the sky, but their posts were being deleted quickly. She refreshed the page. Message popped up. "This content has been removed for your safety." Laina closed the laptop. Her heart was beating fast. Somebody, or something, didn't want the world to know what they saw, and she had a bad feeling this was just the beginning. The town of Elridge was still not the same. 3 days had passed since the strange flash in the sky. The power had returned, but things felt wrong. Radios picked up static. Phones froze for no reason. Dogs barked at the sky at night. People whispered, but no one said anything out loud. Lyanna couldn't stop thinking about the flash, or the video that kept deleting itself. She felt like someone was watching her. She started keeping her phone off most of the day. At night, she looked out the window, waiting to see another flash. Her brother Tom was acting strange too. He had stopped watching cartoons. Instead, he sat for hours with their old radio, trying to pick up signals. Lena thought it was just a hobby until one night. Tom called her into his room, his eyes wide. "Lena," he whispered. "What?" "Listen to this." She sat next to him. The radio was full of static. Then it changed, BZZZT. Click, click, bub, bub, bum, bum, bu. A deep, slow pulse came through like a heartbeat. Then silence, then a voice. Low, robotic, cold. "Do not approach." "They are watching." "Do not approach." "They are watching." Lena froze. "Is this a joke?" Tom shook his head. It started. "Last night, same time, same voice. It always says the same thing." She grabbed her phone to record it, but as soon as she pressed record, the voice stopped. The static returned. She looked at her brother. "We need to show this to someone, but who would believe them?" They went to Mr. Grady again the next morning. His house was different now. The windows were covered. He had cameras on the roof. He opened the door just a little when Lena knocked. "I told you," he said. "It's not safe anymore." "We heard a signal," Tom said quickly. A voice from the radio. It said they are watching. Grady's face turned pale. "They've started broadcasting again." "What does it mean?" Lena asked. Looked around, then opened the door wider. "Come in, but don't touch anything." Inside, the walls were covered with maps and papers. Old photos of flying machines. News clippings with headlines like "Secret Satellite Test," "An Unknown Signal Scrambled NASA Feeds." He pointed at a map with red pins. "These are the places where people reported strange signals. Always the same pattern. Flash of light. Devices fail. Signal begins." Lena pointed to a pin in the Arctic. "What's that?" "That's where the first signal was heard. In 1982, a science base recorded it. Everyone there vanished 2 days later." "Ah!" Tom swallowed. "Do you think the ship is sending the signal?" Mr. Grady nodded slowly. "Yes, and it means one thing. It's still here." Later that night, Lena tried to upload the voice recording Tom had secretly made. She used a friend's laptop at the diner. The internet worked fine, but the moment she clicked upload, the screen flashed 404 error content removed for security. Lena felt cold. Just like the video, the audio was now gone. She looked up and noticed a man across the diner, wearing a black suit and dark glasses. He was staring at her, not blinking, just watching. She quickly left the diner and walked home fast. The streets were empty. The air felt heavy. When she reached her front door, she saw a black car parked down the street. It hadn't been there before that night. Around 3 a.m., Lena woke up to a soft knocking sound. Tap, tap. She looked out. Her window. The man in black was standing in her yard, staring straight up at her window. She froze, didn't move, didn't speak. Then she heard a soft whisper. It wasn't in the room. It was in her head. "Forget this guy, or you'll never see daylight again." She jumped back, heart racing. She looked again, the man was gone. The next morning, Tom found something in the backyard, small black box, half buried in the dirt. It was warm to the touch and buzzing softly. Lena picked it up suddenly. She heard the same voice again inside her head. "Do not approach. They are watching. Do not trust the message. The ship is not what it seems." She dropped the box in shock. It stopped buzzing. Tom looked at her. "Did you hear it too?" Lena nodded slowly. Something strange was happening in Elridge. The ship hadn't left, The signals were growing stronger, and now it was talking to them directly. But the worst part? The message had changed. Lena woke up to silence. Not the normal kind, not the peaceful morning kind. This was different to quiet. No cars, no dogs barking, not even birds. She got out of bed and looked outside. The street was empty. No kids on bikes, no Mr. Taylor walking his dog, no sound of morning life, just stillness. Tom walked into her room, rubbing his eyes. "Where's everyone?" Lena didn't answer. She had a bad feeling deep in her chest. They got dressed quickly and walked outside. A strange wind blew through the street, cold, like winter had returned early. The air smelled like metal. They walked to the next street empty. They knocked on their neighbor's door. No answer. They peeked through the window. Plates of food were still on the table. Chairs pushed back like people had left in a hurry. But no signs of struggle. No broken windows. No blood. Just gone, Tom whispered. Where did they go? Lena didn't know, and that scared her more than anything. They ran to the town square. It was the same. Empty. The bakery was still open. Fresh bread still warm in the glass case. But no baker. No workers. No customers. Did they evacuate the town? Tom asked. Did we miss it? Lena shook her head. Why would they leave? Food and their cars? Then they saw something strange behind the diner. A symbol burned into the grass. It was large, maybe 10 feet wide. Circle with sharp lines inside, like arrows pointing inward. It was glowing faintly like hot metal. Tom stepped back. Was not there yesterday. Lena took a photo with her phone. This time, it didn't delete. She whispered, maybe someone wanted us to see this. They went to Mr. Grady's house. He was gone. The front door was open. Inside, the walls were bare. All the maps and papers had been removed. No sign he had ever lived there, but something was left behind. On the table sat a notebook. A single page was open. 3 words were written in shaky handwriting. We are inside. Lena looked at Tom. Inside what? That night, they contacted an online friend of Lena's, someone she had met through a space discussion forum. His username was Zero. He claimed to study strange signals and alien tech. He had always believed the government was hiding something. Lena sent the photo of the symbol. Then she explained what happened in the town. Zero replied almost immediately. Zero. I've seen that symbol before. Once. In an old photo from a ruined science base in the Arctic. Lena, what does it mean? Zero. It's a warning. A marker used by something not human, but not alien either. Tom leaned over. What does that even mean? Lena. You said not alien and not human? Then what is it? Zero. Something built by us. But changed. I think the vessel you saw wasn't from space. It was from Earth. But from a place we were never meant to find. He sent a final message. Zero. Come to me. I'll explain everything. But hurry. Once they mark a town, they erase it. Completely. Erase it. Like everyone. Lena nodded. That's what they did here. The next morning, Lena and Tom packed bags and left town. They took their bikes in a hidden road out of Elridge. As they looked back, they saw black trucks entering the town. Quiet. Covered in strange symbols. Men in suits with no faces visible. One of them looked up right at them and smiled. Meanwhile, deep underground, somewhere far away in a dark control room, screens showed images of Elridge. A voice whispered through a speaker. Test Site 3. Complete. Memory sweep in progress. Signal Phase 2. Ready? Another screen showed Lena and Tom riding away. Target marked. Escapees. Begin silent tracking. Back with Lena and Tom. Rode in silence through the forest. We're not safe, Tom said. Lena nodded. Not yet, but if Zero knows more, he might finally learn the truth. Tom looked at her. What if the truth is worse than we thought? Lena stared ahead. Then we fight it. Above them, the sky was calm, but far in the clouds, something moved, watching, waiting. Lena and Tom rode for miles before they reached the highway. They had no plan, just the name of a place and a user named Zero. He had told them to come to an old research base in the Arctic, a cold, forgotten place where strange things had happened before. They used an old train line, sneaking onto cargo trains. They avoided roads, cities, and cameras. Every time they saw a black car or a man in a suit, they hid. After 4 days, they reached a small airstrip in Canada. There a man was waiting with a small plane. He wore snow gear, a hood, and dark glasses. "You must be Laina," he said. Laina nodded slowly. "Zero?" "Yes, but not out here. Come, it's a long flight." Inside the plane, Zero didn't speak much, just stared at a laptop screen, watching blinking dots and lines. Tom leaned toward him. "Why did you want us to come here?" Zero finally spoke. "Because the ship you saw didn't come from the stars. It came from right here, deep below the ice." Tom looked confused. "You mean it was buried?" Zero shook his head. "No, it was built here, by people, or at least something that started out human." Lina stared at him. He didn't answer. The base was huge, but half buried in snow. It had metal towers, frozen doors, and warning signs. But everything looked abandoned. I had to break in through a side entrance, crawling through a tunnel filled with frost and old wires. Inside, Zero showed them a control room. Screens were cracked. Lights were dead. But the machines inside were not normal. Long black wires, panels with strange symbols, a glowing cube pulsing with blue light. Zero wiped dust off an old screen. This base was part of a secret program decades ago. A group of scientists discovered a signal coming from under the ice. Not from aliens, but from something buried, something ancient. Tom frowned. Like what? A ship? No, worse. A machine that could think. Wasn't built by humans, but it had human parts, brains, eyes, skin. Lena stepped back. "Wait, you mean it was alive? Half machine? Gave people technology in exchange for control." At first, they thought it was helping. But then the base went silent. Everyone here disappeared. Zero handed Laina an old photo. A group of people stood in front of the ship. Most of their faces were blurred except for one. "Mr. Grady, he was here," Laina whispered. Zero nodded. "He helped build it. Then he ran, hid for years, until the ship woke up again." Tom pointed at the screen. "Is the core still active?" Before Zero could answer, a deep hum filled the room. The cube began to glow brighter. Zero stood quickly. "It knows we're here." Suddenly the lights in the base flickered. A speaker on the wall crackled. Then a voice filled the room. "They have arrived. They carry the signal. Begin upload." The doors behind them slammed shut. "Run," Zero shouted. They raced down a frozen hallway, cold air blowing from the vents. Behind them, lights turned red. The ship, they could feel it waking up, speaking through the walls, reaching into their minds. "You are open. You are ready. Join the program." They entered a round room with a metal table in the center. Wires hung from the ceiling. A chair stood in the middle, like a throne. Line's eyes widened. "It's a testing room." Zero opened a panel and pulled out a small glowing chip. "This is what they use to connect to the core. It's like a key or a virus." Tom grabbed it. "If we can use this, maybe we can stop it." Zero hesitated. "Or it could infect you." Tom looked at his sister. Suddenly, Tom dropped the chip. He grabbed his head in pain. "Tom?" Lena ran to him. His eyes turned white. His voice changed. Connection complete. Human host detected. Memories loaded. Lena backed away, shaking. "No, not again." Zero picked up a metal rod from the wall and swung it at the chip. Sparks flew. The room went dark. Tom collapsed. The silence returned. After a few seconds, Tom woke up. His eyes were normal again. I saw something," he whispered. "A map. Stars. A giant machine. And something worse. Something watching from far away." Lena looked at Zero. "What did he see?" Zero answered in a low voice. The core wasn't alone. It was a message. Signal to something bigger. Something waiting out there. Lyanna stood up. Then we need to find it before it finds us. Zero looked at the glowing cube one last time. No, it already has. Tom didn't speak for the next few hours. After the strange chip connected to his mind, something had changed. His eyes looked tired. His voice was softer. Sometimes he just stared into space, like he was watching something only he could. Lyanna sat beside him near a heater inside the base. She wrapped a blanket around his shoulders. "What did you see?" she asked gently. Tom shook his head. "I don't know." It wasn't just pictures. It was thoughts. Sounds. A cold place. Far away, machines bigger than cities. Sky full of lightning, and something was looking at me. Zero worked quietly at an old terminal, trying to access files from the frozen base. He pulled up a screen showing strange wave patterns. "The core didn't just speak to you," he said. "It sent you something." Tom looked at the screen. "A transmission?" "Yes." Zero nodded. "A full one. But not in sound. Not in words. It's using the brain like a hard drive." Lyanna frowned. "Then that means it's still inside him." Tom whispered. "I can hear it. It's quiet now, but it's there, waiting." Suddenly the lights in the base flickered, the radio on. The table turned on by itself. BZZZT. Bub bum bub. BUH bum. The same deep pulse they had heard before. Then the voice returned calmer, now almost gentle. Phase 2 complete. Host connected. Begin dream sequence. Zero shouted, "Don't listen." But it was too late. Tom's body stiffened, then went limp. Lyanna screamed, "Tom!" His eyes were wide open. But he wasn't there. He was dreaming, or trapped inside Tom's mind. He stood in an endless black space. Stars above. A giant machine towered in the distance, floating without sound. It had no doors, no windows, just blinking red lights. Then a voice inside him said, "You are chosen. You are the message. Show them." The machine opened. Light poured out, and Tom saw everything back in the base. Lyanna held his hand. "Come back, Tom, please." Zero connected a scanner to Tom's head. He's seeing something. Complete transmission. The core is showing him everything it knows. Asked, "Can you stop it?" Zero hesitated. "If we pull him out too fast, we might lose him." Tom's body started shaking. Then he whispered, "I see it. I see where it's going." Lyanna leaned in. "Where?" Tom gasped. "It's coming. Here. Not this base. Earth. All of it. A second ship is coming. Bigger. Stronger. It will connect every human mind. No more war. No more freedom. Just control." Zero stared at the scanner. It's not just a machine. It's a network. And the core was only the first node. Tom opened his hand. Lines had appeared on his skin-glowing symbols like circuits. They pulsed with soft light. "I'm marked now," he said. I can feel when it's near." Lyanna pulled him close. "Then we destroy it before the second one arrives." Zero turned around. "There might be a way." The original project had a shutdown device. A weapon that scrambles the signal, but it was locked away after the scientist disappeared. Tom said, "I saw it in my vision. Silver cube with a crack in the center. They called it the breaker." Lyanna stood. "Where is it?" Tom looked at her with fear. "It's inside the core." They made a plan. Zero would stay behind and try to slow the signal. Lyanna and Tom would enter the heart of the base into the old lab where the core still rested. Quiet but alive. The hallway was cold and silent. Machines blinked as they walked past. The deeper they went, the more the walls changed from metal to something darker. It's like stone, but alive. They entered a massive chamber. In the center was the core, a floating black sphere. It's covered in wires, surrounded by floating screens and energy fields. It spoke again, calm and deep. "Welcome back. Hosts, you carry the seed. You may now retrieve the breaker." A panel opened in the wall. Inside was a silver cube, cracked, glowing faintly. Tom stepped forward. Lena grabbed his arm. What if it's a trap? Tom looked at her. It is, but we don't have a choice. He picked up the cube. Suddenly, the chamber shook. Alarms blared. Red lights spun. The core's voice changed. Error. Host deviation. Signal broken. Transmission unstable. Tom screamed in pain. The symbols on his skin were burning. Lena shouted, "Throw it!" Tom hurled. The cube at the core. Boom. Burst of white light filled the chamber. The core cracked. Sparks flew. The floating screen shattered, then dashed silence later. Back in the control room, Zero watched the signal wave flatline on his screen. It's gone, he said. The transmission stopped.
Ats!
Tom sat on the floor, weak but alive. The marks on his skin were fading. Lena looked out at the snowy land beyond the base. Is it over? She asked. Zero shook his head. The core is dead. The message it sent already left. A second ship is on its way. And it won't be alone, Tom whispered. Then we'd better get ready. 3 days had passed since Lena and Tom destroyed. The core thought the snowstorm around the base had cleared, but something still felt wrong. The skies were quiet, too quiet. No birds, no wind, no life. Tom sat near the radio, listening. No signal, no heartbeat sound, no voice, nothing, but deep inside, he felt it. Something was coming. Zero walked into the room with a map, pointed to a glowing in the middle of the Arctic Circle. This is it, he said. The contact point. Lena frowned. What is that? Zero replied. That's where the second ship will land. Tom looked up. When Zero hesitated, within 48 hours, maybe less. A small device on the table. It beeped every second. Tom asked, What's that? Pulse tracker, Zero said. If it stops beeping, the ship is here. The room went silent except for the beeping. Lena took a deep breath. Then we stop it before it lands. Zero nodded. There may be a way. If we reach the contact point first, we can plant the breaker signal again. If the new ship receives it before full contact, it might shut down. Tom asked, What if it doesn't? Zero looked at him. Then the world will belong to something else. The journey to the contact point was long and dangerous. They traveled on snow bikes through ice, wind, and white fog. Strange shapes moved in the distance. At night, the stars looked sharper, colder. Almost like they were watching, Tom began hearing the voice again, soft, far away. We are close. You are ready. Welcome home. He kept it a secret from Lena. He didn't want to worry her, but he wrote it down. Finally, they reached a tall mountain. Covered in ice, Zero checked the scanner. This is the spot. The ice cracked beneath their feet. A platform rose from the ground, smooth, metal, covered in symbols like those burned into the town's grass. Then, a low hum. The beeping stopped. Lena looked at the tracker. It stopped. Zero whispered, It's here. A shape appeared in the sky, not falling, not flying, floating. It was bigger than anything they had ever seen, like a city in the air. No windows, no engines. Oh, just lights moving in circles. It glowed softly, like it was alive. The ground shook. Tom fell to his knees. He heard the voice again clear. Now, final connection complete. Begin MindLink. Downloading memories. Human interface opening. Lena held Tom. Stay with me. Out. But Tom's eyes were glowing. He stood up slowly. His voice sounded calm but empty. I see it now. It's not evil. It wants to help. Lena backed away. Tom, no. Fight it. Tom turned to her. We are not ready to be free. That's why they came. To guide us. No more war. No more hate. Just peace. Zero shouted. It's rewriting your brain. Fight it. Lena pulled out the second breaker device. It looked just like the first silver, cracked, glowing inside. She pointed it at the ship. The lights on the ship began to blink faster. Then the voice inside all of them spoke. We gave you a choice. You chose fear. Now we take control. Lena. pressed the button. Nothing happened. Zero grabbed the device. We need to be closer. They climbed the platform. It shook with each step. As they reached the top, the ship opened. A thin beam of white light stretched down from the sky. It touched Tom. He gasped and smiled. I understand now, Lena screamed. Tom, don't go. Tom turned slowly. I'm not going. I'm becoming something new. Suddenly he stepped into the light and vanished. Lena ran toward it, but Zero stopped her. We can't follow him, but he's my brother. Zero showed her the scanner. His signal, it's gone. He's not human anymore. Lena fell to her knees, tears freezing on her face. Then the light flickered. The ship stopped moving. A crack appeared in its smooth surface. Then silence. The light went out. The ship floated higher, then disappeared into the clouds. Gone. Later, at the base, Lena sat alone. Zero walked in, carrying Tom's backpack. Inside was a notebook. On the last page, Tom had written, "If they reach Earth, use the signal. The truth is worse than you think." Lena stared at it. What did he mean? Then the radio clicked on. Then the radio clicked on. A new voice, colder. Not the same as before. Phase 1 complete. Contact point stable. Earth unlocked. Begin final arrival. Lena stood up. They lied, she whispered. That wasn't the second ship. Zero nodded. It was just the key. The Arctic wind howled outside the old base. Lena sat in silence, holding Tom's notebook. His last words kept repeating in her head. If they reach Earth, use the signal. The truth is worse than you think. She had lost her brother. Or maybe he wasn't lost. Maybe he had changed into something else. Something no longer human. Zero stood near the window, staring at the sky. There's no more time, he said. The final ship is coming. The real one. Bigger than the core. Bigger than the contact vessel. Lena looked up. How do we stop it? He opened a metal box. Inside was the last breaker device, stronger than the others. Center glowed. Dark blue. This is the last signal weapon, Zero said. It can reach space, but we can only use it once. If we use it too early, it won't hit the main ship. If we wait too long, they'll be inside every human mind. Lena nodded. Then we wait for the right moment. That night, Lena had a dream. She was in space. Alone, in front of her, was the final ship. Black, massive, endless. She could feel it breathing, not with air, but with thought. Then Tom's voice echoed in her mind. I'm still here. She turned. He stood beside her, older, taller, glowing. Is it really you? She asked. Yes. And no, Tom said. I see what they see. I understand their mission. They don't hate us. They want to fix us. Lena shook her head, Coda taking away our minds. Tom looked sad. They believe human freedom is dangerous, that war, hate, fear, all come from choice. They want to remove pain. But without pain, Lena said, there's no real life. Tom held her hand. You can still choose. That's why they sent me. To offer peace. The ship opened. A soft white light invited her in. Come, Tom said. Be free. Zero stood beside her. You were talking in your sleep? What did you see? She looked out the window. The stars were gone, covered by a shadow. It's here, she whispered. The final ship arrived above Earth. It didn't crash. It didn't land. It simply hovered, huge, silent, dark. It covered the sky like a second moon. People everywhere looked up in fear. Radios across the planet spoke one message. The human cycle ends. Peace begins. Join. Millions stopped. What? They were doing. Some stood still. Others dropped to their knees. The signal was inside everyone now, but not Laena. She held the breaker, and she still had a choice. Zero turned to her. Now or never. Laena looked at the screen. It showed the ship's energy growing. A timer counted down. 2 minutes. Once. The countdown ends, Zero said. The full link will activate. No turning back. Laena stared at the button on the device. Tom's voice echoed in her memory. The truth is worse than you think. Was he warning her about the ship? Or about humans? What if? What if the ship was right? What if peace through control was better than war through freedom? She hesitated. Then she remembered something. Tom's laugh. Her mother's hugs. Mr. Grady's. Story's life was messy, but it was real. Laena stood. I choose us, she said, and pressed the button. A bright wave burst from the base. It shot up into the sky like a flare. Straight into the ship, the lights on the giant ship blinked. Once. Then flickered. The radio screamed, ERROR corrupted signal. Breaker detected. All across the world, people woke up as if from a dream. Some screamed, some cried. The ship shook then dash. Boom, a soft explosion echoed through the sky. The ship began to crack, not into pieces, but into light. It dissolved, like a dream ending, and was gone. Laena fell to her knees, the device in her hand. It broke apart. Zero sat beside her. You made the right choice. She looked up at the stars, finally clear again, but tears filled her eyes. I lost him. Zero nodded. Yes, but you saved billions. The next morning, Laena walked outside. For the first time in days, she felt the sun. Real sun. Not through metal or filters. She opened Tom's notebook again. On the very last page, something new had appeared. It was a single sentence in glowing letters. You remembered who we are. 1 week after the ship vanished, the world was quiet again. But it wasn't the same. People remembered what had happened. The strange voices, the dark sky, the feeling of something inside their minds. Some tried to forget. Others stayed afraid. But Laena, she remembered everything. She stood on a hill near the old Arctic base. Snow fell around her. Cold wind touched her face. She held Tom's notebook in her hand, the one that now glowed softly when she touched it. Zero walked beside her. The world is safe, he said. At least for now, Laena nodded. But not forever, Zero agreed. They're still out there. He pointed to the sky, and now they're afraid. Across the galaxy, in a cold and distant place, something watched Earth. A giant machine floated among dead stars. Surface was smooth, endless. Inside, beings of light, older than time, spoke without sound. The signal was rejected. Human mind is unstable. They resist programming. One voice whispered deeper than the others. Worse, they learn. A hologram showed Earth. Then it zoomed in on Laena. She made the choice. She broke the link. She destroyed. The path? Another voice asked. Should we erase them? But the oldest voice said, no, not yet. Let them grow. Let them think they are free. But mark them. Watch them. Because one day they will reach us. And for the first time in their history, the beings of light felt something they had never felt before: fear. Back on Earth, Laena returned home. Elridge was still standing. The power was back. People were rebuilding. Some had no memory of what happened. Others only remembered it as a strange dream. But Laena remembered it clearly, and Tom. He was still gone, or maybe not. Every night, she heard a soft whisper in her dreams. I'm watching the stars now. One night, as she looked through her telescope, she saw something in the sky. A small light, moving fast, not a plane, not a satellite. It blinked 3 times, then vanished. She smiled. Hi, Tom, she whispered. Laena decided to tell the world the truth. She uploaded the full story videos, photos, messages. This time, nothing was deleted. The signal blockers were gone, people. listened, and something changed. They didn't panic. They prepared. They united. For the first time in years, countries stopped fighting. Scientists worked together. Space programs joined hands. Satellites were launched. Defense systems were built not to fight each other, but to watch the stars. Because now they knew. They weren't alone, and if the enemy ever returned, humanity would be ready. In a hidden lab deep under the Earth, Zero stood with a group of scientists. In the center of the room was a table. On it, the last remaining piece of the alien ship, glowing, breathing, still alive. Zero placed his hand on it. "We don't just survive," he said. "We adapt." Behind him, screens showed star maps, ship blueprints, and strange energy readings. Humanity had been attacked, controlled, tested, and they had said no now. They were learning not to copy their enemy, but to surpass them. Years later, a human ship entered deep space faster than light, stronger than metal, powered by the core's stolen tech, built by human hands. Inside, a new generation of explorers watched as the stars flew by, and on the side of the ship, it's written in bold letters, Project Laena.